Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode here at WILDMAN Lives. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now on today's episode, I'm training for practical strength. So if you don't know what that means, basically a barbell and compound movements, those barbells are meant to be lifted. They're even in weight, they're balanced, and they're calibrated perfectly, and so are the circular weights that go on the end of those things. Now, even though barbells are a great way to build strength in a safe and overloading manner, since those things are meant to be lifted, sometimes that doesn't quite translate over into real life. In real life, things are unpredictable, awkward, and heavy to move, and even though you might be able to squat 300 pounds, doesn't necessarily mean that you can pick a human up and carry them if you need to, even if they weigh a lot lighter than what you're used to squatting in the gym. Now, when it comes to practical strength in real life, I consider myself an expert, or at least a little bit more knowledge than the average weightlifter. So let's pop into today's workout and let me show you a method that I like to do in order to build practical strength. So as you know, I like to train in giant set. So for the bench press variation today, I'm going to be using the buffalo bar. Because of its curved nature, for people who couldn't back squat because they had poor shoulder mobility, this bar was designed to help those get under a bar and to back squat and to take the pressure off the shoulder. But if you actually bench press with it, it adds 3 inches of a deficit to your bench press. So it gets a better range of motion, and it also wiggles a lot up and down. So that works the stabilizers of your muscles, which carries over great into practical strength. Then I'm going to move over to this rope, and I'm going to start from the floor and pull myself up to work the antagonistic muscles, or the opposite muscles of what I'm pushing today. And this is going to be well for practical strength because you're able to work your grip strength, but you're also doing a natural movement of pulling yourself up. So this is a great exercise to do for the antagonistic portion. Then for my core and cardio, I'm going to be doing this Yoke setup, which is what I mimic to do a yoke. But I like this because it's the same curved bar, just the newer model. And you add those straps to it and the weights on the bottom, and you can keep adding weights. And it's going to wiggle a lot, and it's going to really work your core, and it carries over great into practical strength. And that's going to be the giant set for the day. So now I'm just going to show you how this works. So with that bar, you can see as I bring it down, it's a lot more of a deficit than a normal barbell since it curves. And as it gets heavier, it's going to start wiggling. And then I'm going to start pulling myself up from the floor. And this is a great way to use the rope to build your grip strength and your back. And is a total body movement as well, and is functionally acceptable in the real world. And then I'm going to be doing some yoke walks, and they're going to be very small right now because the main point is just to get warmed up and to practice good technique. And that's going to be the giant set as a whole. And the idea is, as the weight gets heavier, I'll continue to do the yoke with a small amount of weight and the rope climbs, but I'm going to keep that number consistent on the rope climbs. But for the yoke, after I'm done with the strength portion, that weight's going to go up. But for now, the weight's going to go up on here, and this is my main concentration right now. And what I like about this bar is it forces you to have to move very slowly and a lot more controlled. Because if you don't, it wiggles a ton and will demonstrate a weakness in your stability. And this carries over great into practical strength. Because when you're going to push somebody away from you, it's not going to be somebody who is standing totally horizontal and is made to be lifted on each portion like a barbell is. It's going to be awkward and wiggly, and that's why I love to train like this. Now for my top set, I was going to do 305 pounds. And since my surgery, I haven't lifted this heavy before. This is the most I'm going to lift on this bar. And you can see it gets stuck in the middle a little bit, but I was able to push it through. And I was able to control it from not being too wiggly as it went up. So that was a huge demonstration of my stability right now in my chest. So I was very happy with that, and will carry over great into the normal barbell once I go back to it. Okay, so that went just as I planned it to be, but actually it felt a lot better than what I was thinking it was going to be. I thought 300 pounds on the buffalo bar, it would get really slow, which it did, in the middle, but I thought it would wobble a lot more. So the fact that I was able to maintain control and press it all the way through in a smooth fashion, I'm very happy with that. I also did it without any wrist wraps. These are actually just sweat bands, so they really don't do anything other than capture sweat, and without a belt. So That's what I was planning to wear today when I was trying to go for this weight. And the fact that I didn't need it means that I'm well ahead of schedule. So I'm very happy with this. Now here comes probably like the actual workout part, because this part's just the fun part to see where I'm at. Now I actually need to do volume and do some bodybuilding to make sure that I'm getting a well-rounded workout and a full body workout. So we're going to decrease the weight on this and do more reps, but the yoke weight is going to keep going up. So I'll show you how that works. This is how you can build practical strength all around. So let's pop into the volume giant set. Now for the volume giant set, I was doing 3 rounds and I was continuing to do the buffalo bench press. But this time I reduced the weight to 225 and I'm doing it for 6 reps. And I'm going to continue to do my prone rope climbs as well. And I was also going to do the yoke, but I was going to continue to raise the weight. This is a theory that I have, and I call it the X-wing theory, where you take your strength portion and you go up in weight on the strength portion side, but then as you progress through the workout, then the strongman movement that you were doing, you increase that weight, but then decrease the weight of your main strength movement. This way, I'm able to accumulate a lot of volume, but I'm also working on 2 different strength components within the same workout. And the goal here was to get a lot better on the technique with pausing at the very bottom of the buffalo bench press and then using good technique to push it back up and to kind of get familiar with the movement all together, but to also build volume and to get a nice chest pump. And for the yoke, it was similarly in the beginning just to make sure that I was practicing good technique and warming up. And now as I'm starting to get heavier, that's going to carry over from what I was doing earlier to make sure that I don't injure myself, but I'm also doing the movement correctly. So that way I'm able to get a nice good workout and a total body workout by the end of all these reps. And to top that off, with all this volume control and everything, this is building a lot more stability into that left arm that I had surgery on. So that's another great reason to do this, is it's building that stability up a lot faster than it would on a typical normal barbell. And you can overload it, unlike a dumbbell, because dumbbells are awkward and uneven. But with this bar, you're able to actually just get into a nice shoulder position, first of all in the yoke, and then with the rope climbs and the bench press, it all works out super nice. Now for the assistance giant set, I was continuing to do 3 rounds, and I was continuing to do the yoke walk, but I was going to end here at 500 pounds. And I was going to carry that from 3 reps total. And then I was trying something new this day. Instead of doing like a push-up variation that I usually like to do for assistance, I decided that I was going to try to do an incline bench press with a football bar, because this changes the angle. And since my chest was pretty tired from all that work before, 135 is not a hard weight for me. But when you're doing 500-pound yoke walks and an incline bench press for reps and for a lot of reps, then it can get quite difficult very fast. And I just continued on with the prone rope climbs as well to finish off a nice round even number by the time I was done. And the whole purpose behind this is now I'm on basically my top 3 sets for the yoke. And 500 pounds, I think, a while back was very difficult for me to lift. So the fact that I'm able to do this for 3 reps under extreme fatigue, that made me very happy. And it also shows that I'm doing everything right and I'm progressing in a manner that's safe and efficient. And the most important thing, it's working. And this carries over great for practical strength. All of these movements here will carry over when you're trying to move or fight another human being. And at the same time, you'll be able to increase all of your barbell lifts in a nice standard progression. Whoa, as you can see, my shirt is completely dirty, sweaty, I'm out of breath, and I am lying on the floor as a result. But if you think about it, my chest, my back, my core, my legs, and all the other muscles that you forget about when you're doing strongman movements were all activated today. So that's a win. Now I gotta put the weights away and I gotta do my accessories, but this is where I'm gonna end the video, and I really appreciate everybody stopping by, and I hope you learned something new. Until next time, thank you.